The house was very quiet that morning. Too quiet for a place that once felt so warm. Ethan sat on the edge of his bed and listened. No radio sound. No slow footsteps in the hallway. No gentle cough from the next room. For as long as Ethan could remember, his grandfather had lived with them. Grandpa James woke up early every day. He made tea before the sun came up. He listened to the old radio and hummed soft songs from his youth. Ethan used to hear those sounds before school. They felt normal. They felt safe. But today, there was only silence. Ethan slowly stood up and walked to the window. The sky was pale and cloudy. It felt like the world was holding its breath. Downstairs, his mother sat at the kitchen table. Her eyes were red. She held a cup of tea but did not drink it. Ethan already knew. He did not need words. Grandpa James had passed away during the night. Peacefully, the doctor said. In his sleep. People often say that makes it easier. But for Ethan, nothing felt easy. He walked to his grandfather's room. The door was open. The bed was neatly made. Everything looked the same, but something important was missing. On the small table beside the bed was Grandpa's watch. It was old and scratched. The leather strap was worn out. Ethan picked it up. It was not ticking anymore. He remembered how Grandpa used to say that the watch had seen more life than most people. Grandpa James was not a rich man. He did not travel the world. He did not talk loudly. But he listened. He always listened. When Ethan was younger and felt scared at night, he would walk quietly to Grandpa's room. Grandpa would sit up and smile, telling him there was nothing to fear. Ethan would sit beside him and talk. About school. About friends. About fears he could not explain. Grandpa never rushed him. He never checked the time. He never said Ethan's worries were silly. He just listened, and that made everything feel lighter. Later that day, relatives came to the house. They spoke in low voices and hugged each other. Ethan stood near the wall and watched. Everything felt far away, like he was watching someone else's life. That evening, his mother asked him to help clean Grandpa's room. He did not want to, but he nodded. They opened drawers together. Inside were old letters, photographs, and small notes written in careful handwriting. One photo showed Grandpa holding Ethan as a baby. Grandpa's smile was wide and proud. Ethan felt his chest tighten. That night, after everyone had gone home, Ethan sat alone on the stairs. The house was quiet again. He remembered the last time he saw his grandfather awake. Grandpa had tried to speak to him, but Ethan was late for school. He had rushed past, saying he would talk later. Later never came. The day of the funeral arrived under a grey sky. People stood quietly. Some cried. Some stared at the ground. Ethan stood beside his mother, his hands cold. When it was his turn to say goodbye, he stepped forward slowly and stood in silence, unable to find words. That night, Ethan could not sleep. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The house felt empty in a new and painful way. He remembered Grandpa's calm and gentle voice. Tears rolled down his face as he whispered an apology into the darkness. The next morning, Ethan found a small envelope on his desk. His name was written on it in familiar handwriting. Inside was a short letter from Grandpa, filled with gentle words about love, listening, and quiet moments. Each word felt forgiving. Ethan held the letter close to his chest. Later that day, he sat under the old tree in the yard where Grandpa used to rest. The heavy feeling inside him slowly softened. He understood that goodbyes are not always spoken. Sometimes, they live on in memories. From that day on, Ethan tried to slow down and listen more. Years later, he would still think of his grandfather, not with pain, but with a soft smile. Some goodbyes are quiet, but their love stays forever.